Welcome to Feeding Our Young podcast. Have you ever heard the phrase, nurses eat their young? Feeding Our Young is more than a podcast. It's a movement. It's a desire to see new nurses of all ages be supported and uplifted by their peers. And it starts with me. It starts with you. So join host Eric Miller, registered nurse for nearly 20 years and adjunct clinical instructor, and today's honored guest, me, Maliah Haroldson, and be ready to have your life uplifted so you can, in turn, uplift others. Welcome to Feeding Our Young podcast.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Feeding Our Young podcast. Today's a very special episode. I know I say that a lot, but it really truly is, because today we're going to talk about being unified in nursing. A very special theme. That is all we're going to talk about. We're not going to mention names. We're just going to talk about unification. So in a unified manner, I'd like to introduce our unified honored guest today. Okay, I can't keep going with it. Maliah, how are you? Welcome to studio.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this.
I'm like, she did the intro, and I'm like, if you're not embarrassed by it, let's roll with it. Let's just talk about.
I definitely biffed that. I was like, unified, sure. It's like uplifted, actually. Like, let me hold on a second.
Maybe we'll call it the Maliah rule. In the next 5 episodes, we'll just change that word to unified for people. They'll have no idea. It'll be great. Oh, so Maliah, let's. I don't want to waste any time because as we've already established before, officially hitting the record button, you and I can talk in circles, and one circle combined with another circle makes a really big circle. So let's just jump right in. Introduce yourself. Give us your name. Where is home for you? Where are you from? Where are you at now?
Okay, so again, my name is Maliah, and I graduated. So my nursing school journey started. I'm originally from Northern California. Sacramento is my home. I have a poster of it, I guess, behind me. And then I didn't really know what I wanted to do after high school, so I went straight to Cal State Long Beach. I did the Cal State system, went there for 2 years. I think probably a lot of people, if you don't go to a 4-year, California is just also so packed full of nurses, people that want to be nurses. So then I was there for 2 years, transferred over to Cal State San Bernardino. Okay. And then I took 3 years there. So I took 5 years to finish my undergrad, but very enjoyable. And I graduated from there. And then I actually ended up with a scholarship. It was from the VA. One of the professors was like, you should do this. It's called a PBR&R scholarship. It's like an HSPS kind of scholarship. I forget the formal name.
Okay.
I did that one. It's through the VA, and basically you do pretty much 3 years, and 2 of those years you work full time, and 1 year is a transition year. So it's a nurse residency. So you go to different floors. At least that's how my program was set up. And then that's how I ended up in Seattle. So right now I'm in Seattle, and yeah.
Wow, what a journey. That is so incredible. And I love that. Let me back up for a second then, just on that note. Are you planning on going back to California? Have you fallen in love with Seattle and the dreary weather and all the things? What's going on there?
So California, again, I love the sun. I just like being outside. So Seattle was a good fit. I do have to say the winters are I've been here for now 3 years. I actually finished up my scholarship literally last month. So now I can go wherever I do please. But I don't think I currently, I don't have any plans on returning. I'm actually in grad school right now at UW. That was kind of not a last minute decision, but kind of a whim of the moment decision.
Well, and we'll unpack that a little bit more, but with apologies to all of my former Coug students, go Huskies. We're spending a little time with the purple and gold today. We've got no biases here in the Feeding Our Young podcast, that's for sure. The only color that we embrace here is unification. So, all right, so. I'm going to work it in. We're going to work it in. And you can too. You can too, Maliah. In fact, we should like, how many times can we work the word unified or unification
I feel
into
like
this episode?
it's gonna be a lot. I think we can. I feel like if people want to take a tally, they can play a little game with themselves.
And not a drinking game. We've talked about
No.
that. Don't make a feeding our young drinking game. I'm always worried about that part. Okay, so continuing with our kind of our normal opening questions, I always ask everybody to give 3 words that they would use to describe nursing school. We're going to talk about them later, but what are the words you chose, Malia?
I chose the word memorable. I would say frustrating and hard work.
Nice. And
Yeah.
then, do you have 3 favorite songs in life right now?
Not exactly. I kind of just go with whatever. I'm just gonna pull up my Spotify and let's see what I've been just listening to.
Ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen, we're working our way into Malia's Spotify.
no, so personal already.
Social security card, the number and all that,
I
that comes
know.
later,
I'll
so
just give
don't
you
worry.
my credit card information too. We can have it all.
Everybody get your pen
Um,
and paper ready.
I have the one I was just listening to that I liked. It was called Following the Sun. I have no idea. It's by like Super High and Nika, I guess.
Okay.
Is that one was on there. Um, let's see. I like anything like Noah Kahan, weirdly enough. I know, like I'm like I haven't been damaged in any sort of way, I feel like, but
But it
anything
speaks
by
to you. It
yeah,
speaks to
like
you.
I think the first one, I feel like the first one that came up that I recently listened to was like Orange Juice, so I guess that one's gonna be on there.
There it is. All right.
Um,
Okay.
and then I guess I'll put this one out there. I know like a lot of people that if you've listened to house music, I guess I don't really follow the artist, but Focus by like John Summage featuring Cloves is like on there, I guess. So we'll
Interesting.
go with that.
Okay. I might have to. As any long-time listeners know, I love to run, blah, 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 blah. My only distance is a half marathon. I couldn't get mine in this morning, so that's what's awaiting me when we're done chatting. So I think I'm going to take those songs and pop them into my playlist and give those a little taste while I'm punishing myself, I guess. I don't know. All right, so the one thing I didn't get to prepare you for, and the one thing that is not on that form that I send you, I normally warn people, but I'm currently doing the unofficial Feeding Our Young personality test. I ask you 5 rapid fire, kind of would you rather questions, nothing scandalous. Are you willing to take that test right now, Malia?
Sure. I
Look
feel
at
like
that.
I'm on this like game show right now. I'm like I'm ready.
All right, the unofficial Feeding Our Young unified personality test today. Is Wham's song titled Last Christmas actually a Christmas song?
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather have the ability to fly or breathe underwater?
Why?
I'm chuckling because I get to see her face. You don't. It's awesome. Team pie or team cake?
Why?
Okay. And a question mark? And now you've been gifted a time machine. Would you rather go back in time or see the future?
Back in time.
Interesting. Yeah. Hold on. Got to make a note there. Just kidding. And the last question: would you rather instantly learn a new language or instrument?
Language.
There it is. So the results are in. You're amazing. Congratulations, Malia. So there it is. The unofficial unified Feeding Our Young Maliah Haroldson episode edition of that personality test.
Whatever
All right.
it's gonna be.
Enough enough of the games. Let's have some fun with this. So there's a lot of different I have kind of this, standard, let's get to know Malia, let's get to know her as a person and as a nursing student and her career and all that sort of thing. But I'm trying to break out of that mold. So there's a few topics that Malia has written down that could be of interest. We might get to, we might not get to. But I definitely want to start there. And we'll just kind of work our way around and kind of interject and maybe sprinkle Malia's story amidst the topics, because I think that might be the way it works today. The first thing that you had written on there, Malia, which I really, really love, you titled it The Art of Storytelling in Nursing. What is that about?
Honestly, for me, I just think I like just recently, like my coworkers and I have started a book club on our unit. So it's like it's not even about that. It's like the idea of that like nurses and like just people get together or they find like an online community to me, which is interesting. Like now you have all these nursing influencers that a lot of people are like either inspired or just like for laughs. And I feel like even like when my coworkers are together, we just like have all these stories and we just start like spouting off all these stories. And I don't know what it is about it, but like I feel like whenever you have like times where you can just, it's not even like just vent, it's like a little vent sesh, but it's also
Yeah.
not so much gossiping, but you guys like,
Yeah.
it's a way to like bond and like you able to like understand people. It's just like a little bit more than a conversation. It's like, okay, like, I felt this way. And then you're like, I felt the same way. Or like having
Yeah.
that shared experience. It's like the idea that you're not alone in your nursing journey. Because again, it's that whole idea of you're not alone. Like, not everybody's going through it, but something is similar is going on in the world
Yeah.
around you, kind of the same way. I don't
And,
know.
and and not that you would become this is gonna sound silly, but not that you would become a cult, but that you would, what I mean, of just these, you just now hang out with nurses and other nurses and in nursing community. But you know what I mean? There is a level of understanding there that's not with other friends or loved ones who are not in that tight circle. You know what I mean? And so I love that. You kind of gave me the vision of like a IV tubing. For lack of a better word, when you're trying to, for anyone who doesn't know, when you're trying to hook up IV tubing to like a glass vialed medication, you're encouraged to open the vent. You pop open this little vent, which is almost like a little porthole, right? Like it looks like a porthole on a submarine or something like that. But you pop it open so that more air can get in and you can get the medication out. And I'm like, a little vent sesh. Like that's kind of what that is, right? Like you just kind of pop that hole open, let it out, right?
Yeah. And it's like again filled with lots of laugh because you know what I mean? Like I love laughter. I feel I have like I've been told to like very serious moments. This might not be the best in my career where it's like I just start like laughing. It's like, like patient like I don't know, like pooped or peed on the ground and I'm just like like I was just like what? Like, I'm just like I don't know. Like they were like this isn't funny and I was like I don't know. Like where like you're just in the room, turn the patient. I think it's like happened to multiple of us and they just like let a toot out and you're just like it's like so hard for me to just like keep it together but like it's like stories like that like everyone has had that and they'll be like wait a minute I got even a better story like hold on and like it just keeps amping up and then you're at the
Yeah.
point where you're like I don't even know how we got to this point but like you're in public too and you're just like wait a minute like nobody can relate to this like you're like
Right.
nobody's gonna just like stare at you. I think I've also been at like I think dinner always is like a like any meal they're always like I can't talk about this. Like, and I've gone
Yeah.
out too with like friends that are not in healthcare. And I love my friends that are like, I try to make like, again, like the whole idea of diverse friend groups and like
Yeah.
having people that aren't just in like, nursing. Like, I think one of my best friend, like one of my best friends is like becoming a pilot right now, aerospace engineer. So like, even like she's just like her parent, like her mom's a nurse and her stepdad's a nurse, but it's just like one of those like, she's like, I don't know how you do that
Oh
or
my
even like
gosh.
my sister who's in tech, like I'm just telling her about my day because I call her on my way home from work and she's just like she like stopped me one time and she's like stop. She's like, I went into my career. This is your choice. Like I don't want to hear about that right now.
Right. And it's such a thing. And any nurse will tell you it 100% at the dinner table, whatever, with friends, with family, it's going to happen. And like, I get used to even, what I mean, as a postpartum nurse, what is the number one body fluid I deal with? 90% of every day, all day, blood, right? We're worried about women bleeding. We're looking at blood. We're taking care. Maybe people listening to this who aren't in the nursing community are like, oh gosh, are we going to keep talking about that? Because I need to tune out. But that's just it. Like and you get used to whatever you get used to. But even like my patients and or their significant other, their spouse, their support person, they may not have a tolerance for that stuff, even though they're in the middle of it. So you kind of have to check yourself on occasion and be like, oh yeah, okay, no, it's okay. Don't worry. We've seen worse and we're not going to stop talking about it. Let's
Yeah,
focus on
you're
other things.
like can't go there. I feel like the best, like I think like on social media right now too. I feel like you've probably heard about like the Pit. Everyone's like talking about the
Yeah.
Pit.
Oh, I cannot wait I want to binge it so bad. I'm so busy, but I want to binge it so bad.
Like I was watching it. I was watching it with my boyfriend Isaac, and it was like so funny because he's just like, I'm not ever. I know people that work in an ED respectfully. Like I'm like I would never like I don't think I could. I work on the surgical ICU at the VA, and I'm like no like. But like it was so funny because there is this one scene. It's not gonna spoil anything, but you just see
Yeah.
this like naked like patient just run out of the ED, and you just see a like I think it's a nurse just chasing them down, being like, "Sir, you can't leave. Like you have an IV in still." Just like watching this, and he's like, "This isn't real." And I was like, no, that's like 100% like what you'll see.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I was,
And you have nurses that are like, oh my gosh, like they, you've seen those clips of the pit, and they're like, no, like nurses going, you guys, I normally don't recognize, I don't recommend like watching shows like this, but this is real. Like this is as real, and they've
exactly.
taken great pains at making it real, and I love that about them.
I think my favorite though is I just keep seeing like all the RTs, like the respiratory therapists being like, where's respiratory? Like they're like, wait a minute, they just intubated a patient. We would have been there.
And I mean, but we get that too from as a nursing
Exactly.
perspective. I don't. Do you ever watch The Office?
I have seen it. I've like seen bits and pieces of The Office, but
I won't go into detail because I've said it in other episodes. And for anyone who's
yeah.
only listening to Malia's episode, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go find the one that I talked about it in. But The Office is one of my top 5 all-time sitcoms. Love it. It's that comfort food you need when you're just feeling down. But nurses on The Office are the worst nurses I've ever met in my life. You've got one that rolls her eyes at Pam and Jim when they're having a baby because she's asking questions, God forbid. You've got another one that stops Michael Scott from like trying to put an IV tube back into an IV. And she's like, wait, sir, let me do that. And she takes it from him. You're like, oh, thank God. And then she connects it. No alcohol. No, didn't toss the tubing, get new tubing. No. She just hooks it up after it was touching the floor. So whatever. I don't know. But the pit, as I understand it, and I watched some behind the scenes. I haven't seen the show, but I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and they're very much like, no, we want to make this is our he Noah Wiley says like this is our love letter to this community, especially post COVID. Having his experience being on ER before and now doing the pit, and I'm just like, okay, I don't usually watch medical stuff like because I don't know about you, Malia. Like for me, like entertainment being related around work is not entertainment when you're outside of work, right?
No, it's not. It's almost like scarring. You're like, wait, I don't want to like covering your eyes. You're like, wait a minute, I don't need to see this anymore. Like, I don't want to think about it.
No, thank you. There was an old adage, like a receptionist. She doesn't want to answer the phone when she gets home, or he.
Exactly.
Let's not be gender biased here. Um,
Exactly.
okay, so
Unified, Eric.
unified,
Unified.
unified. Doesn't matter what gender you relate with, what you are. You're answering the phone. You don't want to answer it at home. All right, and there it is. Number, I don't know what we're at.
I don't know
Five,
what we're
four,
at with
five.
that
We're not even
one.
going to count. We're going to leave that up to you guys. We're having fun. You get to do the work. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, with storytelling and nursing, what I love about this podcast is we get to do stories. We get to listen to your story. So I'll just segue that into a very sloppy segue into tell us why nursing. How did you get into nursing? And then, you know what I mean? Kind of lead us down that road a bit.
I get into nursing? Well, I feel like I did out of high school. I guess I should give you back. I grew up in Sacramento, California, and
Yeah.
my mom was like, you're gonna go to private school. So I went to a college preparatory, like private school.
Wow. I
So
did
like
not
I know like I
know.
feel like I try like I like it's like embarrassing too. You're like, yeah, I went to like a Catholic high school. You're like hiding in shame, like Catholic guilt. You're like, no, like don't.
No,
I'm like
no.
normal, I swear. Like I'm not part of this elite class. Like I swear. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I think my dad was a nurse and then my mom's a teacher, so I have like that whole background, very service
Interesting.
related.
Yeah.
And my mom kind of um very so much was like, like I feel like she was like financial security is a great thing to have in your life. So I kind of was like, it was like match the dots as I imagine. It's like, pick and play. Like these are the top careers right now and pick a major that goes to it. And again, like
Yeah.
at the time, like you're young and you're like, this sucks, mom. Like, I don't, I
Mm-hmm.
want to go and like, travel. And she's like, no, like choose something. So my aunt kind of helped counsel that too and was like, I feel like nursing would be a great thing for you. You get to travel, financial
Yeah.
security in that. You'll meet a lot of people. And like coming out of high school too, I don't know, like I found like I was like very shy growing up. So like
Okay.
for me to think about patient care and like talking to people, I was like, I don't know, like this isn't gonna go well. Like maybe like I won't like rapport with patients. I'm like, I might come off a little awkward, and I still kind of do,
Right.
and you know what I
Right.
mean? So
It's that private school background, I'll have you know.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make it here. But then I went and undeclared to Long Beach as like probably in the beginning of the episode you heard, and then I met some great people there. I tried to get into the nurse. I applied to 7 nursing schools in the state of California. I tell anyone that I counsel or like just try to like tell them they're like I'm really interested in nursing and they're like a senior in high school. I was like go to a 4 year. Go to a 4 year university, pay the extra money. It will pay off in the end because you could be waiting in this limbo. Like I almost didn't get into San Bernardino and that was a whole mess too, but um I'll go into that. But like
Yeah,
so
no, just share the details. We got time.
yeah,
I'm
so
I'm kicking
basically
up
I
here,
got
y'all.
like rejected. Like I applied, like if you know California, I like applied to Chico State. I messed up on the app there. I messed up at like I didn't get into Sac State. I didn't get into Fresno State. I was like Fresno, like come on. Yeah.
Was that like is Fresno like the fallback? Like that you're like, that's
It's
my
not even
safety
the
net.
fallback, but it's like where it
Oh,
is in the state of California. I was like, no, like shade on Fresno. Like,
yeah.
love
Yeah.
all the people that live in like Central California, but I was like, Fresno? Like, like me. I didn't get into Long Beach, so San Bernardino actually happened by chance. Like, I had friends that grew up. We call it the Inland Empire in Southern California. So the IE, they were like, you should just apply. So I put on my app. They have a satellite campus out in Palm Desert. So if you know Palm Springs, it's the same area. And then they were like, just apply. They both got into Long Beach. So I was like, okay, guys.
Great,
And
great.
I was weirdly like in Spain at the time, like visiting like a friend that was studying abroad.
Oh
And my
wow.
mom like WhatsApps me and is like, hey, like you got a letter from San Bernardino and they're asking that you got in. I had no idea, but then like I get back, like I'm like, okay, I accept. And I was at the satellite campus at first, and I asked the dean at the time, like, I was like, can you please let me in the main campus? Like, I don't know anyone in this region. Like, please let me close to civilization. Like,
Yeah.
anything. Like Palm Springs and Palm Desert's a nice area, but it's not a young people. Like,
Yeah.
you're pretty far out from places. So I begged her, and then she was like, she looked at my app and she was like, you didn't submit something right. So she's like, we're gonna have to deny you. So
What?
then I was like, all of a sudden, I'm like panicking on the phone now. Like, it's honest, and I just turned like 21 too. It was on my birthday. I'm like going through this too. And I
Oh
was like,
my
what do you
gosh.
need? And like, my friend's like at my house. I'm pretty sure my friend was at my house, and she's just like sitting there, like, we were supposed
Watching
to
you
go
melt
stay.
down and
We were supposed to go. So I call like like it was summer too, so I'm like calling the office. I'm like, something happened with like my of all things, I think it was like AP scores. She's like, you never sent us those, so we don't have like transcripts. I was like, what is going on? And so like the guy was so nice. I forget his name, but like God bless this man's soul. Like
yeah.
he was the nicest gentleman. He was like, tell them it's fine. Like, we got all your stuff. I get in. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, this was the only nursing school like I got into. You don't understand. I was like, and he was like, okay. And then it was even crazier because at that point I didn't know I was going to go to the main campus. So
Yeah.
I had full intentions of going out to like Palm Desert. And so I met a roommate even too. And I was like, I don't know, I'm going to just do this.
Yeah.
And then the dean called me and was like, okay, we're going to let you in the main campus.
Oh
It was kind of
no.
demoralizing though, because she was kind of like, just know that because you checked like by chance, you checked like you could go to both campuses, you're going to take away like a place on like somebody else's place in this nursing program. And I was like, what the heck? Like, oh my God, like, okay.
So welcome, but feel really bad about it.
Yeah, like I
Oh
was
my
like, oh.
gosh.
But it all worked out in the end. Like, again, like I got in the first year though of just nursing. I just remember like feeling like, do I deserve to be here? Like, I had this such huge
Mhm.
self-doubt starting there because of just that one conversation we had. And
Yeah.
then like through that, like I like was like, well, I'm just gonna prove you like wrong, I guess. So that's exactly what I did. I was like, well, I'm gonna do well in all my classes. And then I guess like long story short is that I like they talked me into like leadership positions. Like the club was like, I feel like my mentor at the time was like, you should just like take over faculty rep. And I was like, okay. So I'm like just sitting in these like staff meetings on like Friday at San Bernardino. Like I'm just a transfer, like I'm just here to write notes. And then go from there. And then all of a sudden they're like, my friends and I joked and they were like, you should just become like president of the nursing club. And I was like, yeah, guys, so funny. They're like, we'll run. And so like they do this whole thing. And then I was like, did you guys put your names? And they're like, no, absolutely not. So I'm like, wait.
What a bunch of jerks. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So no, it turned out really funny in the
That's
end. And
awesome.
Yeah, but then COVID hit, so it's kind of weird. Like we did everything online like this, like a very online platform. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but like we kind of made it work. And then I don't know, I think they're still doing well. So like I know that the club is still up and running. So I was like, I kept it afloat. So I was like, I did my job.
Pass it on to some other poor sucker whose friends got them to run for it. I don't know.
I know. Like I was like I don't know. I kind of like am easily I it doesn't take much for me to get talked into things. Anyway, long-winded journey for nursing, I guess you could say. And then yeah, I got this scholarship which paid for my like the last 2 years of nursing school. It paid it in full with a monthly stipend. So I was like, I guess I
Oh.
can plug that scholarship, but it was
Yeah.
a great one
Wow.
from the VA. You just have to be willing to move. I actually just talked to one of our family friends' daughter is becoming a nurse, and like she's in her last semester at I think she's at Loyola Chicago or something, somewhere in
Oh, wow.
Chicago.
Okay.
And basically it helped her pay for like nursing school as well. But she was like, they're offering like what I did was just like the baccalaureate like residency program and then
Hmm.
transition to practice one. So
So, what's the official name of the scholarship again? Like, full name of the scholarship. And if someone's like, well, this sounds kind of interesting, like, how would they apply?
So it is called to be formal, it is called the Health Professions Scholarship Program,
Okay.
HPSP.
Hmm.
Um, basically, wait, maybe it's not this one. I think it is this one. I think this was the one I did. Yeah. I don't know. It looks different online, but I think that was the one I did. And it was
Okay.
like you don't have to be a military kid. You don't have to like have any military background. It was offered as a civilian one. So,
Very nice.
um, I felt like not a lot of people. Okay, so funny story. The only reason I heard about this is also because like one of our family friends and like one of my mentors did it as well, and she
Oh,
went to University of San Francisco, which is like private school too, and she did it, but she was placed in LA. But again, like they've been changing the program too as the years have gone on. So
yeah.
what I had like 3 years ago is definitely not what people will get like now. And again, they have this new transition to practice, which I think is better because the VA is a federal facility, so I think jobs are kind of getting wonky with the little things, and you're responsible
Uh huh.
working full time at a VA after. So the transition to practice guarantees like you have a job after. So I was like, maybe
Very
that would be
nice.
the better option just to be safer. But again, it's cool.
No, that's incredible, and I'm glad you brought it up because there's one of our students that we have at the university that I work at. She was telling me all about that too, and that's her plan. She currently is working at the VA while going to school, and so then my understanding is there's a bit, and I don't know if it's the same program that you're describing, and I can't wait to ask her because she is going to be on the podcast as well eventually. But the long story short on that, so then you are then working for the VA upon completion of upon obtaining your nursing degree. Yes.
Yeah, so basically, okay, so the PBRNR, the post baccalaureate
Mm-hmm.
program, I can speak to that. Basically, that one is that you work for them like you don't get any of the benefits of the VA. Like the VA, you don't get anything. You get a monthly stipend and it's coming from education, the education department. So I was on a monthly stipend my first year,
Yeah.
and then you're at the very end you do a project. At least that's how my program was set up.
Okay.
Um, and then afterwards, you're responsible for getting a job at the VA full time because the last 2 years of your scholarship, you have to work full time for the VA. And again, like I got very lucky. Like I love my unit. They had openings on their unit at the surgical ICU, and I was like, I've always was like, I wanted to be ICU, so I was like,
Yeah.
perfect. So, but again, a lot of people are, I think like as travel, I don't know if travel nursing is kind of like going down a little bit, or like facilities are trying, because I've kind of seen this trend. A lot of people are trying to find like a home, kind of like a quote
Yeah.
unquote
Somewhere to
home.
land.
Yeah, and the VA does have like really good benefits, at least what I've been told. I've only worked at a VA for like my nursing career, and like not unfortunately, but like you know what I mean? Like some people like variety.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are trying to get in to the VA, so it's kind of like saturated at the moment too.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. And that, like you said, I've been doing this relatively long enough now that I feel like a lot of us, because the nurses before me would tell me this, and then now I'm starting to see it, how things become cyclical. You know what I mean? So, like, maybe travel nursing's huge, and then it kind of that ebbs and flows, and then you know what I mean, and it comes back in favor again. And I see it too with like trends on various things in the healthcare field. So it's kind of fascinating how we kind of joke about the fact it's like, okay, we do things this way, and we're like, well, we got to do it better. So we're going to do it this other way. Oh, that's amazing. And we go do it the other way, and we do that for however long, whether it's years or whatever. And then they go, we need to do this better. We're going to do this other way. And it was the way that was done before. You know what I mean? And then we just kind of go back and forth and around. And
It's like the whole thing. It's just like trends. Like I think in like somebody told me it's like it takes 75 years for like a full change to happen in healthcare. And I was like, in 75 years we could be on like some other planet. Like what are we talking about here? Because
yeah.
even if you can, I think like you get the people that come from the East Coast too. West Coast, and I think is like the best coast because again, you got I feel like nurses are very protected out here.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have the East Coast people that come here from the South and they're like, yeah, you get good pay here and everything. And then they're like, you guys are doing things like that we were doing like 5 years ago though. Like, they're like, what are you guys doing out here? Like, this is innovative. I was like, apparently. Like, I was like, I don't know. Like, the patient seems like I'm looking at my patient. I was like, do you feel good? Like
do you feel like we're innovating? I don't know. It's in
you
an
know,
effort. It's in an effort to be unified, Maliah.
exactly. You
Yes.
have to be on a unified front. So the East Coast, West Coast, the South, the Midwest, we're all somehow unified, but we
We're
all,
working on it. We're
yeah.
working on it. No,
Some
it's
of us
funny.
got
It's funny.
ratios, some of us don't. Some of us got good pay, some of us don't, some of us have
Oh.
unions.
But all of us are taking care of other human
Yes,
beings. And in that
exactly.
aspect, we are unified.
Exactly.
No, and I'm glad you brought that up because it was kind of fascinating. When we moved over to Spokane, kind of a similar thing. Like when I left the Seattle area, we were, just starting to digitize patient records. So we were, I worked in medical records for about 9 years or so. I started, honestly, when I was
Yeah.
14
Wow.
and got paid under the table, slightly illegal, whatever. It doesn't matter. I
That's
was
the
getting
best way to
paid.
do it.
Yeah, I was 14. What do I care? So, but no, when I left there, we were starting to digitize records and, for Epic and all this thing. And so then, you go to Spokane and we're like, oh, no, there's no Epic here. Okay, well, that's okay. It must be new. It must be relatively new or kind of a big push. And I was like, well, we'll see it soon. And, it was like, so then we always joke that, and again, anyone who has listened knows that I love my hometown of Spokane here, Spokane, Washington. So know that when I say this, and that is that I was always like, Spokane's like 10 years behind, Seattle. Like whatever's happening in Seattle, it'll happen 10 years here. And then, you know what I mean? But then you keep going, the joke is you keep going east. So then northern Idaho, it's going to take a little bit longer. Man, you get to Montana, it's going to take even longer in the sticks and in the woods and the backwoods of whatever, you know what I mean? Like all the things. So, but no, it is. And that's the thing. Like, how do you fix the system that is not only, obviously broken currently, but also like has so many disparate parts. You know what I mean? Like depending on where you're from, like you said, if you're down south, you're getting paid different. You got different things you're dealing with, and patient populations are different, right?
Exactly. It's crazy. I think in Washington though, there's this huge push again, like there's just this big push towards rural medicine right now because they're like, how do
Hmm.
we reach like again, that's a huge need. And
Mm-hmm.
so and then I guess like even in like I think Idaho's working on it too. They're just like, yeah, we got like a huge need. Like and I
Yeah.
feel like in some of those rural hospitals though, you're gonna get some crazy stuff. Like I feel like you really learn how to utilize what you got.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah.
I
You don't have that respiratory therapist ready to go.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
where were they? You're like looking for them. But
They're a
yeah,
few
I don't
hundred
know.
miles to your west. Or
It's definitely interesting. I think like living in like such a big city as Seattle, I think again like coming from like I guess like Southern California, even seeing all the resources there, then like even in Southern California, you still have like rural parts as well. But I don't know. I'm honestly, as you talk about like the electronic health record, I'm honestly curious to see like where all this like AI is gonna go with it too.
oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh. Yeah.
I can only imagine what everyone is like thinking. They're like, huh, like I don't know. It's a hot topic too. I know in medicine
Yeah.
too. I'm always
And
like, where could we go with this? Like I feel like can a computer detect like trends better than me? And I was like, possibly. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
that's what it's
I
programmed to do.
I literally just read an article about AI's inroads into nursing. And
Oh,
an AI nurse, like kind of telehealth, that sort of thing, where you're calling in and maybe kind of in a triage manner. And the article, it was just, even the article was creepy because it just starts off, and you know where it's going, but they just said, you're going to call in, you're going to speak to Anna, and Anna is so sweet and she's going to give you advice, and but there's one thing you don't know about Anna. She's an AI nurse. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, sweet Lord. So you know what I mean? There's some incredible pluses that are coming, and I'm there are some things that make you go, oh my gosh. Overall, I'm kind of creeped out by it. I watched too much Terminator growing up as a kid, so.
It's crazy. I think like the thing that I found interesting too, because at work we have this ACN thing going on, and it's like it's CSI, so it's not criminal. It's supposed to be
Oh,
clinical scene investigator. I'm like over here like CSI, like they were like you don't
CSI.
for it. I'm like, no. I was like, what? I'm like, I'm part of this like project. I was like, wait a minute. So basically the one of the groups like they take a bunch of like a cohort from a region, and one of them it's down south of here.
Hmm.
They have like a telehealth ICU. Like they have like ICU telehealth. And basically I was like, how like I was very
How
curious.
does that work? Yeah, like how does that?
So I guess like the nurse like will look over labs too. It's kind of like having like an extra like set of eyes on you. And I think like even like like if you're not, I was like it has its pros and cons too. I think they're working out all the kinks as well. Like I was like
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about this. Or it's like it's the tele-sitters. Like they just sit with that little like
Yep.
cone in that room, and they just like they're like don't get out of bed, and you're like
Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, please get back in your bed.
they're like I'm gonna call your nurse right now, and you're just like
It's like a school calling the mom and dad, right? Like, I'm
I
calling
know.
your
They're
parents.
gonna come and fix everything, and then they're just like watching you also like struggle in the room with this patient. You're like, turn the camera off, please. Like,
Uh-huh, 100%. Anyone who's worked with a telesitter knows what we're doing and what we're talking about here.
oh man.
So I mean, it's obvious to me now, Malia, and as it was very early on when I first got to meet you, is that we're gonna be a little chatty.
Yeah.
So we're already kind of reaching that time for kind of capping a first episode. You okay if we turn this into a two, maybe three-parter at the most?
If you want, we could do that, or you could just cut and take whatever you want of this conversation. You could be like, I don't like this part. Let's take that out. That's got weird real
We'll
quick.
cut everything out except for the word unified or unification.
It's just like
um,
actually the whole podcast will just be that word. Like it's just like every
Unify,
clip. It's like
unification,
unified.
unification.
A new
So
soundbite.
no, but and we joked because I was like, oh, we're talking about honoring time and all the things. She's like, I got all day off. I was like, great, then you're gonna be our first seven-parter. We'll have 7 hours, you guys, of Malia. So be ready. No, just kidding. Before we close this episode, though, I had two random questions that popped in my brain based on things that you talked about. I can't let it go that you mentioned that your dad's a nurse.
Yeah.
So what kind of nurse is he? Again, that's recognizing game. That's pretty rare. So especially with it being your dad, you know what I mean? Like how does that come to be? How do you have a male nurse as a father? What is that like for you?
Well, he was so it was interesting growing up because like again like I don't know, I guess you could call it like like when you have parents yours like I my dad was very like nonchalant, like wasn't very like what I mean, like he was just kind of there, like I again love my dad but like I was like what, like he would never talk about, so he was an adolescent psych nurse,
Oh,
so
oh,
very different kind of like vibe, again like both my parents, my mom's been a special ed teacher for 40 years now, and
oh my goodness.
so exactly, like very service driven careers. So and then I again they both worked. So it was kind of like see mom, see dad, but like I never thought that was weird. Again, that was my normal. But
Yeah.
for growing up with him, like I think it was just his personality very like he would talk to you about things if you asked, but like not very like open. And especially like when you're a kid, you're
Yeah.
not gonna ask like, what do you do at work? Like he's gonna be like, I deal with like adolescent psych patients.
I take care of kids your age dealing with
Yeah.
these problems. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like you know what I mean, like in like again, like I know mental health again, like trends. We talked about trends and everything, and
Yeah.
like mental health it has a huge spotlight right now, and rightfully so. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like mental health is important, your well-being is important. I guess you could say wealth is health.
Yeah, yeah.
So like that, so now like I think about that and I was like yeah, like I like as like an 8-year-old kid you're not going to be like this is depression, this is anxiety. Like maybe if like Inside Out came, or like Inside Out came out, I'd be like oh, like what is this feeling?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
No,
so
that's
very
cool.
yeah, but yeah, like I also grew up in a weird household too, like where it wasn't weird but like my mom would do like the hard like labor work. She'd be like the sink needs fixing, and my dad would just be there with like the light like just like and she's like okay, like we gotta go do this, and like my dad would just be like okay, like I'm holding light, like it's just like right there.
Your dad is my brother from another mother. I'm giving him a hug right now yeah, wow. That's awesome. Because my wife, like, she's the one that, like, I'll learn how to barbecue. Because she was like, oh, I really would love for you to barbecue, and I'm like, no, thank you. My
Like,
dad barbecued a whole bunch and all things, and I love that about him. But I just have no desire. I have no desire to cook. I have no desire to barbecue. And that's not my, I'm like, oh, come on over and we'll do that. No, so she was like, I'll learn how to barbecue. So she's the barbecue in our family. It is what it is,
exactly.
right?
Everyone has a
Um,
place and purpose.
exactly. And it's okay. Like, even if it defies stereotypes and all the things, it allows us to become, nay, more, what was the word again?
Unified.
Unified. Thank you.
Unified front.
Okay, so one last random question because I promised we have to name drop here. So you
Okay.
talked about being like randomly talked into things.
Yeah.
Someone talked you into this little endeavor. Would you mind pulling the curtain back on this person so we can stroke their ego a little bit, lest I get a nasty text after they hear your episodes down the road?
Well, Christy is her name, and actually, so she's gonna have to listen to my episode now. I was
Yeah.
like, if there's
Oh
one
yeah.
episode, it has to be this one. She gets a name
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, though, I only know Christy through my mom, weirdly enough. So my mom, because Christy is into interior design, and my mom loves
Hmm.
interior design. So like, she kind of used like they work together, and then they've become friends. And my mom just saw her. So like, basically, my mom was like went to this party like Christy hosted, and was like, hey, like she has this cool like Alexa like Amazon like new speaker. And she was like, that's what I want for Christmas. And she like sends us a picture and I'm like, and I've like met her in the past too. I think like we had a game night one night where
And
we
you
all
met
went
her
over
that
to
way.
like, yeah. So I was like, okay, like I kind of like I don't know what she looks like now actually. So I get this random text and it just is like it's just like, hey, like I would like weirdly enough, that's why I like she was like, I was the one that convinced your mom that she needed that new Alexa
Hey,
speaker.
it's me, the Alexa
And I
speaker
was like,
lady.
yeah, I know of you and everything. And she was like, yeah, like I think you would just get along so great with my friend Eric that I've been friends with like for 20 plus years. Like, it's gonna be so great. And I was like, okay, like sure. And then I was like, I guess like I'll just like text it. I'll just text him, like see what comes out of this again. Like I was
Oh
like,
my gosh. I love it. So on my end of it, so yes, we're name dropping Christy. Christy, the way I know Christy is through my wife. Christy and my wife grew up together in Alaska. So they were truly like close friend. There was like four of them that kind of, really grew up together and all the things. And then my wife moved to Washington, and then there was a whole different, all that. I mean, we're not going to go through the boring detail of my wife and Christy's friendship, but not that it's boring, you two. If either of you
it's a
happen to
great
hear this,
story. They
great
became
story.
unified.
Unified in their friendship, unified friendship. But anyway, no. And and Christy's like, hey, I know a couple nurses that I think would be great for your podcast. I think you'd have a great time with them. And can I send them your info? Or, and I was like, please, heck yeah. I'll take anyone. Like, this is, again, I'm talked into anything. I don't know. If you've got a breath and a pulse, you can be on the podcast too.
Yeah,
Yay.
that was the only requirement.
That was it. We just happened to get a little extra with Maliah here, with the intelligence and the kindness and the easygoingness and all the things. No, but that's how I know Christy. Christy, thanks for hooking us up. And now, because of that, we're going to be chewing up about, I don't know, 7 hours of our day doing a seven-parter. So, all right. So, Maliah, we'll catch you on episode 2. Sound good?
Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
You guys, you don't want to miss it. She has a lot of good topics she wants to talk about. I've got more questions for her. I don't know where we're going with it, and so neither do you. And we're all going to discover it together.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Here's what's happening on the next episode of Feeding Our Young.
It's always so funny because people are like, yeah, like I don't think she precepted before, but I don't know if she ever precepted on SICU. So like, and we have like
Oh.
such a funny story too because I was a PB when I was doing the post-bac like the nurse residency, I came to SICU, and I tell this story all the time. And Rachel was there at like sitting at her well, and she's like, I don't want a student. She's like, I was like, I'm not a student. Like, I'm a full-blown nurse. Like, I swear to God. And she's just like, I had no idea. Like, again, like, you don't know what's going on in people's minds. So I'm just like, I get to the unit and I'm just like standing there, like, shy, anxious, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like, I
Yeah.
don't want to, like, intrude on. And so, like, I'm already like, she hates me. Like, I'm already like, you're gonna place me. So she's like, okay. So we got this, like, spinal cord patient that's, like, septic-y. What do you, like, it's like, what are we gonna do? And I just was like,
Right.
uh, take care of him. Like, so I was like, what? Like, what do you like? It's just like I'm just like standing there, like again, like so awkward too. I can just imagine like how she felt. Long story short, it works out fine.
Yeah.
I go up to the charge. I have to come back to the unit the next day. She called out, and they're like, she never calls out. And I was like, she hated.
You're like, that was it. I broke
I was like,
her.
guys, like I'm good. Like I'm gonna go home. Like good night. I really liked working with all of you. I hope to never see you all again.
Did you like today's episode of Feeding Our Young? Let today's honored guest know by emailing us at thanks@feedingouryoung.org. Also, if you're a nursing student, nurse, or a nursing instructor and would like to be featured on a future episode, please email us a few details about yourself at the very special email address mystory@feedingouryoung.org. If you have a question you would like addressed in a future Q&A episode, please send it to q@feedingouryoung.org. For all other inquiries, please email us at info@feedingouryoung.org or text us at area code 509-ALL-THEM, 509-255-8436. We're so excited to have you return to hear our next honored guest. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Feeding Our Young LLC. Again, that's username Feeding Our Young LLC. Until next time, be encouraged and go find someone to encourage today.